Okay, I'm showing you this for obvious reasons, namely you've seen enough mistakes of mine, and now sure you just want to see something burn, so that's what I'm doing. I'm just showing you something burning because basically you stood with my little blog for long enough, and it's about time you actually got something that looks entertaining and is in keeping with your interests as well as the interests of everybody else out there. So there you go, there's a bit of methylated spirits burning for you. Whilst I just fill you in with the kind of thoughts, feelings, and all the rest of it which I've learned so far, which is basically, where my experiment is going to go, as it were, next. Just move that around a bit. Still using my fire-safe handle of my spoon. There we go, try and turn that around. Oops, there we go. The vapor is now burning. Okay, so, things I've found out, things I've learned as a result of more and more internet research. Number one, I've got to get my hands on something called a saccharometer, I think it's called. Now this is a device which measures dissolved solids. By dissolved solids, I'm predominantly referring to sugars. So once I've got a good fix as to how much sugar is being dissolved in whatever it is I'm fermenting, I can get a good feeling as to how much alcohol will come as a result of the distillation. Okay? And also how much carbon dioxide can be produced, because half of the sugar will be turned into carbon dioxide, half of the sugar will be turned into the alcohol. Places where to get the sugars in question. Number one, waste of baking products, and that includes local bakeries or baking factories and so on and so forth. Also canning and other food processing factories to get forms of syrup. And also fruit wastes, both from fruit producers and farms and all the rest of it, as well as factories and shops who've got end of season stock and so on and so forth. Alright, now the yeast apparently like a little bit of acid, so a pH of 4.5 could possibly be useful to the yeast entities themselves. That's something else to bear in mind. So obviously we've just discovered cheaper or free sugar. We've just discussed the kind of environment that the yeast cells like to be in. So we may need to get some food grade phosphoric acid or sulfuric acid, but it's got to be food grade because otherwise it's going to be toxic and unpleasant for the yeast cells and of course for us if we are going to be burning it in a domestic environment. Right, so and apparently you can contact food industry or suppliers of various different types to get basically what you're after. So essentially my point here is there's still ways of doing it. It's going to be a question of networking, I think, now, because yes, I've got to get a good distiller. I've more or less come to terms with the fact that my little plastic Chinese distillery is not quite good enough for purposes. But on the other hand, it's taught me a lot on the way. I've seen the process happening. I know what to expect from some forms of distillation. There's obviously different types of distillation. That device that I've been showing you so far is a pot still. There's also the fractional column. There's also the reflux still, which is based upon the fractional column but basically works in a different way to try and get a higher level of purity, and so on and so forth. And all of this research is being done so I can provide basically what you're seeing right now. I mean, that thing inside my canner is probably the safest way of burning a neat liquid alcohol. Well, one of the safer ways is being burned relatively rapidly, yeah. But the equipment is just a canner base. I put a baking tray in the bottom, which I think is a pizza-style baking tray, and that will protect the underside and so on and so forth. Make sure it keeps all the methylated spirits which you need to spill, so that you can then light it and therefore prime the stove all together in one place. And this is what I'm going to be doing for my domestic heating in the future. The quantity of heat coming up off that is quite tremendous actually for a short-term burn. Okay. So I do hope you're enjoying this bit of pyrotechnic pornography. To sort of get the zoom right in there, so it makes you feel like you're really toasting along with the flames. And now you know more about where I'm taking this, and the fact I am taking this deadly seriously. I mean, as someone who's living in a flat in suburbia, I'm probably taking this further than the average individual. And also I've got to get time together so I can make the solar panels, the next batch of solar panels that I need to do. And I really do want to be off-grid sooner. As far as the computer's concerned, I'm probably going to have to downgrade to a Chromebook, because a Chromebook will probably use up less power than my current massive computer, and therefore would be better for my day-to-day work. As far as the lights are concerned, I'm going to go to the hardware shop and I'm going to buy forms of LED illumination from the hardware shop, and I'm going to replace the lights, and I will get everything run off deep cycle batteries, solar power, and then I've got to get the bicycle generator in place as well, so that I can add to my electricity storage on a daily basis, as well as getting myself a little bit fitter. Then I will have pretty much everything covered. Apart from the use of the washing machine and the fridge, will I stay on grid for some of the bare necessities of life? Possibly, possibly not, I don't know. I know one can get off-grid washing machines. I know one can get off-grid refrigeration systems. Okay, so stuff is doable. Stuff is not necessarily doable immediately, but it's still doable. And maybe we will reach a point whereby we can be completely free from the grid. And that would make me very happy.